Series. And this is our L Series Animals show. So let's meet my lovelies. The leonine Ross Noble. The larky Sarah Millican. Lounge lizard Colin Lane. And the lesser spotted Alan Davies. Here's what they sound like. Ross goes... lion. Sarah goes... a lark. Or possibly a ringtone. And Colin goes...
I thought you were supposed to have the worst one.
See if you can guess what that is.
That's a human simulation.
It's an L. It's not a Melbourne housewife. It's a good score at Scrabble for a four-letter animal.
Lynx.
Yes! It's a lynx. It's a lynx. And Alan, your sound is...
Stephen! Stephen! Listen to me! I want points!
Right. Now, I've given each of you a penny in case you're caught short. One of these. Yes, because one of our questions tonight, as in throughout this series, will be a little bit lavatorial. So, if you think that the answer to the question concerns the lavatory, you get a chance to spend your penny. It's a joker card. All right. Now, what does the loneliest whale in the world sound like?
I was going to say Richard Littlejohn. Someone sent me a thing about blue whales, that they are really loud. They can make a noise of 180 decibels.
It's the loudest noise any animal can make. All whales.
It's louder than a plane taking off.
Oh, completely.
Or a baby crying or anything. And it can be heard 500 miles away.
And further, in fact, the deeper it is, the further it sounds. And if it's very, very low pitch. Somebody feed him.
It's not even close.
I don't know what that sounded like. I never want to hear it ever again.
Your wife is a very lucky woman.
Yeah, this particular whale is one. We don't actually know what species it is because no one's found it, but people have heard it. And it's very unusual because it's the highest-pitched whale that's ever been recorded by hydrophones, the microphones you pop down into the depths.
How do they know that it's lonely?
Because it's never been answered.
Oh.
Well, maybe it just likes spending time on its own.
Well,
maybe it's like singing in your kitchen in your night.
There's a subtle difference between lonely and alone.
That's very, very true.
Maybe he's just reading books and spending some time...
Not reading books. I don't think we can go that far.
Also, how do we know, if we've never seen it, how do we know that it is a whale? It might just be a couple of dolphins mucking about with a big shell. They're coming. No, nothing. No. There's a whale over there, I think, but...
No, I think...
That's the shell.
That's the shell.
It's a conch.
I didn't think conch when you did that.
Are you suggesting that
I'm not suggesting anything.
Are you suggesting I'm somehow pleasuring a whale?
A sperm whale's penis is about 3
Yeah, you need a
metres
bigger
long.
mouth than even you have got.
Isn't it great how we're all so keen to be involved?
Hang on a second. If we're all getting involved, I'll start here. Have it all the way along the way. You hold it like that. There you go. Right there. There we go.
Yeah. Well, it's generally believed that it is a blue or a fin whale, and it's 52 hertz, which is a far higher register. We've actually got it. We can hear it. That seems very deep to us, but that's actually the highest.
It sounds like standing outside
deeper
a
ones
nightclub.
travel much further. Now, at home...
It's the minstrel sounds. What time are you closing? We're trying to sleep.
Mate. Not with that shirt.
At home, you might not be able to hear that because not all televisions can actually take that amount of bass. But you probably haven't got a woofer at home, as I have. Just on the issue of last creatures, not necessarily... I mean, some people believe that rather than being a blue whale or a fin whale, it could actually be a whale that is a result of two different species of whale mating. It's a new kind of whale, and that it doesn't have a natural mate because it's a sort of mutated voice. Well, the 52 Hertz whale has a high-pitched voice and no mates. Now, what form of transport might a caterpillar use?
Do they hitch on to things, then?
They do. I wonder what they hitch onto.
Furry mammals. Furry mammals carry a lot of stuff about.
They do, but in this case, they use each other. They use a principle, which is quite fun, and that is that the one that's on the bottom layer is going at a certain speed, and the one above, twice the speed, and the one above that, thrice the speed. So, all told, the whole group goes faster. And we've done a little experiment using stop-motion photography.
It's going to come in.
But if you watch, we've got two yellow pieces there, and they're both moving one step at a time. But you'll see the one on the top layer is going faster, and the single one can't catch up with it. And that's the principle they use, that the top layer is going quicker. And so that's how caterpillars move at greater speed to get to where they need to be.
Like a travelator.
The travelator?
Except when people get on the travelator, they slow right down.
Oh, it's so annoying.
It drives me mad. When I get on a travelator, I really make the most of it.
Me too.
I accelerate.
I love the way that the windows and everything just speed past you. Oh, it's...
Travelator!
People actually, even on the travelator, they just stop.
They stop.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's
Just
doing
keep
the
walking.
moving for you, so you don't have to move.
That's why we're a nation of morbid... Oh, dear.
Or if you have small children, they turn around and run the other way. Yeah. They feel kind and you're like...
You have to do quite a lot of loud coughing and... and my flight's about to leave sort of stuff in order to get people just to move across. It's just politeness to take one side of the travelator.
Or you say, get out of the way!
That's an option too. Anyway, moving from larvae on to adult Lepidoptera. What's a surefire way of telling two butterflies apart?
Different colour wings.
That would be true of those that were different colours. But suppose they looked identical
But then you
and were
can't.
different species or genus.
Then you can't. That's it.
Well, you might be.
Their breath.
Is it? Their breath.
Is it? Prettier they are, the stinkier their breath.
Their dress.
Their dress? Yes.
That would do it.
Are they sort of
Their
same
names?
bit different? Like they are all the same,
There are
but they're
two
not?
genera of butterfly that look almost identical, and it's a type of evolution called Mullerian. There they are. And one of them tastes disgusting to birds, and the birds quite quickly learn that.
Oh, so you lick them. You just lick
Well,
them.
the birds did. And so the other one evolved to look as much like the one that's disgusting without actually being disgusting, because it doesn't need to develop the, whatever it is, the disgusting taste, because the birds will assume that it is disgusting. And this is a thing that happens in nature. You look identical, just to survive.
How smug must they be?
Oh, I would say. It's very, very good.
And also, the one on the right there seems to have a tiny roll of gaffer tape in its mouth. They're not even his real wings. He's made them. He's like, look at that, I'm just like him. Come on. You go around the other side of that, it's all sticky back plastic out there.
But there is an answer to how you would tell the difference, and it's deeply personal.
Oh, it's the downstairs.
It's the genitalia. You would look at the genitalia. And there's a truly great novelist of the 20th century, although English was his third language. And he was very good at sexing butterflies. Indeed, telling their gender, examining their penises. There is
Texting.
Texting. No sexing. There's a collection still at Harvard University of these tiny little files filled with penises of butterflies that he collected. There he is. He lived in America, hence Harvard, but he was born in Russia and then moved to Paris from a rather knobby family, and his name was Vladimir Nabokov. But you must have heard of his most famous Nabokov.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing.
Don't let us down.
Lolita.
Lolita, thank you. Yes, he wrote Lolita amongst many other magnificent
Operation
novels.
Nutri are all over him at the moment.
Lolita, light of my loins.
And he collects the penises.
He was
He's not bothered about the rest of it.
he was an incredibly enthusiastic lepidopterist.
And then he lets them go.
And he went, in
Without
fact,
penis.
on index cards.
That's a butterfly that's had its penis removed.
I got it, I got it. It was really good. It was really good.
Was his name...
Stick to girls!
Was his name Knoboff, did you say? Novel fun him, novel fun nature. I'll do anything. Start with a butterfly, work my way up.
He was, as well as being a great writer, one of the finest Lepidopterists of his time. He used his index cards, on which he wrote his scientific notes about Lepidoptera, to write the entire novel of Lolita, in fact, his most famous work.
Did his wife collect all of the lady gardens of the butterflies?
Very good point. I don't know if he exclusively confined himself to the penises of butterflies, but I suppose they were the easiest bits to see in such a small...
Well, the
insect.
wings are easier to see.
Well, yeah, no. When it comes to sexing, I mean...
Butterfly pubes, that's the... Imagine a pillow. How soft would that pillow be? Just filled with butterfly pubes.
He gave a very, very...
That's what... Not many people know this. Not many people know this, but all of Stephen's suits are lined with butterfly pubes.
That's true.
Like the finest tailors in the land.
Though I do have...
Butterfly tailors, no less.
That's right.
I do-
Tiny moths come in,
Yes.
Mr. Fry.
Moth
You
full
have
of
collected the butterfly pubes of 1,000,000 butterflies.
They've been donated willingly.
More than willing.
That's why he looks so comfortable on the show. See, look, he's even flapping like a butterfly. The power of the pubes are moving through the fire. Look at him moving. There he goes again.
The best way to tell butterflies apart is to look them straight in the genitals. Can you give me your impression of a pufferfish on the pull? That's the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, you're puffing a face.
They play down the puffiness, I reckon.
They do, well, what they do is play up some whole other skill, which is really astonishing in order to attract a female.
They turn themselves inside out. Fully inside out.
I would be impressed by that.
Well, already the bloke came up to you in a nightclub, went, watch this, love. Boom, from the lungs and hearts and all
I mean,
that.
I wouldn't hug them, but I'd be impressed.
Fish, like birds, as you probably know, the males tend to be the more colourful, and they try and put on a good show to
I did
attract
not know
females.
that.
Did you not?
I knew it was about birds.
Beautiful plumage.
Has he just had a slush puppy?
He has a blue slush puppy. What he does...
It was in such a big glass, he's got it, he went like that, it's gone on his eyes.
What they do is actually remarkable. If you watch what he does, at first you'll think it's just random, but then you'll go, oh, my goodness. It takes 9 days for him to prepare this for the female.
Is that just farting, what he's doing
No.
there?
That's... He turned... Look. It's extraordinary. He's made this enormous crater with ridges,
Made
which are
layer.
decorated with seashells. And it's...
Oh,
there.
what do you want? A sandcastle?
Yeah. No, I think they were impressed. 9 days' work to attract a female.
How many days?
9. A lot of females say that, and they go, no, not good enough. And it has to be absolutely perfect. And then when it is perfect, the female lays her eggs right in the middle. And then he then fertilises them and looks after them for 6 days, just to protect them.
That's nice, and then she can go back to work and stuff.
Go to another crate.
But the most amazing thing about that is that's actually on the beach. That's not even under the water. It comes out like that. Puts little flags in every ridge as well.
It's, I wouldn't say entirely unique, because we know so little about what goes on in the ocean, but it's one of the few we know which is quite so marvellous and distinctive as the pufferfish.
But 9 days is a long time. I
If
mean,
you-
if
It's
you,
not really,
Sarah...
was it? I mean, it's, you know...
This is worth it.
Yeah,
She
how
comes
can they
in.
pass him
She
by?
comes in, just goes, well, you've done that all wrong. I've been waiting 6 months for you to get that finished, and it's wrong. So again, I should have got somebody in to do it.
Anyway, the male pufferfish attracts his lady with a heart exhibition. Now, what do we call a fish that drives a tank?
Tankfish.
You might call it tankfish, but when I say we, I mean we. What do we here at QI Central call a fish that drives a tank?
Sir.
Let's have... That was a shot. We read you like a book. We're going to show you a fish driving a tank.
What?
Right. Yes. So if my splendid porters can come on with a little tank tray...
The porters, ladies and gentlemen.
So, we've got a tank, and we've got a fish who's going to drive the tank.
Oh.
And there's our fish. He doesn't live here, I want you to know. This is just his transport system. And,
This is like the poshest fairground ever.
yeah. If I turn on his little motor here,
This is a fish tank.
and as soon as he moves, he
Give him
will...
some food or poke him with a biro.
Every direction, different direction he goes, he moves the tank. And, whoa, there you go. Let's move you into the middle here. There you go, because you're getting all excited. There you are. A few ants' eggs for him, or whatever it is we feed him with. And,
Butterfly penis.
But you obviously want to know... I said, what do we call him? His name is Alan. He's Alan, the QI goldfish. And just to put your minds at rest, this is not his tank. He has a beautiful...
It's my tank.
He has beautiful place where he hangs out, which is full of wonderful toys. And
It's near Watford, and he
Frogs.
drives there himself every morning.
And you might like to meet our splendid elf, Alex Bell, who built this particular contraption for Alan. Come on, Alex.
Here we have the classic elf. Educated to within an inch of his life. Smart
So
turned elf.
how long did it take you to build this?
A couple of days. It's made of Lego completely. So
It's entirely Lego?
Yeah, it's all Lego.
Can we race it against caterpillars?
And why did you make it?
So there's a Dutch company called Studio Dip, and they made a bigger version of this for a fish to live in, and we thought we'd have a go at making our own.
Did you build it over 2 days to attract girls? Are you impressed?
It's working for me.
Are you
It's working for
I
me.
think the question that everyone wants to ask is that if you were to make a full-size version out of the Pope Mobile, and the Pontiff was to swim very hard, would that work? Could we do that?
Probably.
Just to put at rest those who are wondering what the principle behind it is, it's when he swims forward, what happens exactly?
Yeah, there are 4 sensors, one in each corner, so whichever corner he goes to, it goes in that direction.
Ah, right, it's that simple. So it's nothing to do with the pressure of the water.
No.
Would it be possible to build a giant one, put a dolphin in it, that could swim up, do a somersault, and then the whole vehicle could loop the loop?
Theoretically, yes.
Let's do it. I should pay for that out of my own pocket.
Are there future uses for this?
Maybe military. I think.
Military. The British Army is on
Yeah,
its
I
uppers.
think they'll probably be able to fund it.
Well, it's very exciting for him, but I'm sure he wants to get back to
Yes, I
his
think so.
huge and very, very luxurious accommodation in the QI.
He lives in
So
assistant.
I will hand him over to him. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan and Alex. That was very pleasing.
Supporters!
So, anyway, moving on. What has 32 brains and sucks?
The front row. Is there a creature that has 32 brains? Does an octopus have lots of brains in its tentacles?
Yes, and the genitalia at the end as well, if you remember.
Oh, yes, I do remember.
Yes.
Maybe.
Really?
On one of them.
How do you know which one?
You'll soon find out.
Get a few lagers into it.
But it's not an octopus. It is an animal that is associated with moist conditions. And
Slug.
It looks rather like a slug. Here's the thing you can do to test this particular animal, and they've done it. They've filled a condom with blood and dropped it in the water where these
Leech.
creatures... Yes! And
People
they
have done
found...
that intentionally. Filled a condom with blood.
In order to demonstrate...
Unintentionally.
how...
Others accidentally.
In order to demonstrate how...
Are you all right in there? Yeah! Don't flash it down the... No!
That's why it's always been...
It's horrific. What it doesn't do is catch a leech, because leeches haven't evolved expecting humans to splash through the marshes, but they have expected other kinds of animal. And...
A frog, perhaps?
A frog is a perfect example. If you put the condom covered in blood, leeches will not be attracted to it. If you just wipe the condom over a frog and then drop it in, the leeches will go fa-tong, like that, because they smell a bit of frog.
Frog will be your friend.
They go, fa-tong, boing.
Exactly.
what-
They hop
yeah.
around. So, the merest whiff of frog will lure a leech to lunch. Now, what's the most energetic thing that a sloth or sloth ever does? Whichever you prefer. Oh, you're spending your penny. And you're right!
Is it?
Well done.
Going to the laboratory.
Going to the lavatory. They spend all the time in the trees, except when they go down and use a communal lavatory, which they share. And this habit of sharing lavatories has given rise to some pretty
Somebody's missed the lavatory
unpleasant-
there.
Well, I'm afraid it
Got
gets...
a wee on a friend.
It gets really, really worse. I mean, it's grim beyond believing this, but at the Estación Biológica Quebrada Blanco in Peru, which is a field research site in the Amazon, they observed very odd feeding habits of two-toed sloths. They were hanging upside down from the roof of the scientists' latrine, and they started to drop down into it and scoop up handfuls of human excrement and toilet paper, and they would eat it. They even plunged into the pit itself, which you can see, and emerged covering after a liquid lunch in poo. The research paper noted it was scooping with one hand from the semi-liquid manure and then eating from the hand. When more persons gathered around the latrine to watch this bizarre behaviour, the sloth emerged from the latrine and climbed into the nearest tree. So it didn't like being watched, might have been slightly ashamed.
You know, when the film film Jaws came out and it was really terrifying to go to the toilet in case a shark came up and bit your bum?
I don't remember feeling that, to be honest.
Well, maybe that was just our house. But now, there's another one then. Now we've got to worry about...
A sloth coming up and
sloths coming
clawing at your ass.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't do that. They'd just sit like that.
As Super Nanny would say, that was unacceptable. I mean...
It must be hard. It must be hard for them to be both an animal and a deadly sin.
That's true.
Every morning they just go... "Oh." Is it the sloth? I might be wrong here, you'll know. When they die, they stay in the trees, don't they?
How
Totally.
long for, though?
Just forever.
Forever.
No, honestly, you'll just they'll be like
Rot
a
away.
skeleton, like it's just a...
They'll be eaten, perhaps, by...
Yeah, but just not the bones, just the outside.
That's a hell of a way to find your nana, isn't it?
That's how we found mine, on the local park. What you do? Oh, no. Oh, God. She's only gone on the climbing frame. Not really! Why did people go, oh, as if my nan, genuinely? Oh, that's terrible.
We don't know much about what goes on in the North East, but we hear things.
Mainly from you.
So, the only reason, as Alan knew, that sloths ever move out of a tree is to spend a penny. But now it's time to wallow for a while in the filthy pile of ordure that we call general ignorance, so fingers on buzzers, please. Which cat never changes its spots?
Well, now, see? I found set a trap.
Do you? Oh, lion.
Is it the jaguar?
Good.
Because if you shave a jaguar, it's got the jaguar pattern on its skin. That's not its fur. So therefore, it doesn't matter how many times you shave it, the spots remain the same.
Interesting. It's not the correct answer.
All right, I'll be off then.
No. We avoided saying the leopard.
Yes, because that was the trap I sensed.
We could see a little leopard kitten with its mother, and you can see the leopard kitten really does have quite tight spots, very close together, and the mother has what are called rosettes, which are very different. The animal actually is a lion, and the spots are where its whiskers sprout from, and you can see those little lines of dots
Like
there.
it's been sniffing glue.
They never change. They never, ever change. They're like fingerprints. You can identify a particular lion just by the array of
You'd have to get
its
very
spots.
close to it, though,
You
wouldn't
would, and you wouldn't necessarily want to do that. No, exactly. So, it's lions, not leopards, that never change their spots. Which is the biggest of the big cats, though? Yes, lion in first.
Is it the jaguar?
Not even the V12. No, I'm afraid not. Any other thoughts?
Well, the lion. The leopard.
No.
Tiger? Is it the tiger?
You're both half right. The cougar.
The liger.
It is the liger, and the liger is composed of what?
A lion and a
But
tiger.
which gender round?
The front half
Man.
is a tiger. It's like a dodgy safari salesman. I'll tell you what, that's lovely. That's a lion. That is.
Male tiger and a female
Yes, in
lion.
both cases, they put the male first. So if it's a liger, it's a lion male and a tiger female. And if it's a tigon, then it's a male tiger and a female.
The best one is the giraffe. It's just got a zebra body and a giraffe neck, and it's always falling forward.
Anyway, the biggest of the big cats are ligers. That brings me to the scores. In last place, I'm afraid he's come thousands of miles to be minus 20. It's Colin Lane. In third place, twice as good a score, but still minus 10, Sarah Millican. And minus 5, Alan Davies. Which means that our winner on a staggering +6 is Ross Noble. So it's good night from Sarah, Ross, Colin, Alan and me, and I leave you with the last words of Noel Coward of all people, and how sad they are. Good night, my darlings. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.